going on, guys? Last piece of the puzzle. This is the fun stuff. This is what we've been waiting to do, and that is this stuff right here. This is the Smeding S400 kit for these trucks. We went with a 464 for a couple different reasons, and we'll get into that later. But this, we just kind of want to get it in the install and get it going. We need to get this tore apart. This truck being a 5.9 should come apart real easy because everything's real open. The 6.7 trucks are a little more difficult because there's more in the way, but this should be really straightforward. Get it apart, get it together, get the tunes loaded in it, see what it does. We went with the 464, and I'm not afraid to do that with the 5.9. Being a 464 is getting, in my eyes, getting a little on the big side of these motors. But this truck has aftermarket injectors. We've got about 95 horse injector, which is about 35-40% over. So I'm not afraid to feed the turbo. And we also sprung for the billet impeller, because these billet impellers are supposed to move so much more air. Not only that, but they're lighter than a cast impeller, and they're going to spool a lot quicker. So all that, let's get to work. Let's get this thing tore down. So to put this into perspective, we got the old turbo out. This little guy right here, you know, pretty small. It's on every truck out there. And then this is what we're going with. A lot of people, or some people, might think that the T4s are a little excessive, but they're just more efficient. That thing's gonna flow a lot more air. So what we have now to do We need to finish getting the downpipe out. We need to finish getting the oil drain out of the block, which is usually the worst part of this whole project is that oil drain tube. A lot of times you get stuck down there in the block and you got to get creative getting it out. That one was moving, it just didn't want to come out very easy, so that shouldn't be terrible. And then once we get that stuff out of the way, then we can start putting everything back together. All the prep work is done. We got the downpipe out, everything's out, the drain line's out. Obviously the old stuff's out. We got the new oil feed line adapter right there and the oil filter housing. Now comes the task of putting this guy together so we can stick it in the hole. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the exhaust housing on the exhaust manifold first, so we can slip that down in there, and then what we'll do is basically put the turbo together in parts. This is for two reasons. One, the turbo needs reclocked anyways. Everything needs aligned, and you want your oil feed and your oil drain straight up and down, all the above. There's a bunch of different things you want to do. And also, that's going to make assembly a lot easier because the exhaust housing will be on there. We just need to put the core in there, and then we need to put the compressor housing on there and call it good. Everything will be lined up in time. So the camera overheated and I didn't realize it. You missed a little bit, but not a lot. So let me bring you up to speed here. We got the turbo mounted, we got the manifold, we got the hot side turbine housing mounted, we got the cartridge mounted. The downpipe is just kind of mocked in there. The downpipe needs finished, and we'll do that in a second. That's gonna be my next step. Oil feed lines, oil return line. We're really getting close to getting this finished up, and I'm really excited to see what it sounds like. Jeff and Jake took off to get a new monitor. This truck had edge stuff on it, which we didn't want on it anymore. We're loading tunes into it and we wanted to get all that out of there. Turns out the CTS Attitude monitor thing doesn't work as a monitor without the edge box. So they're gonna go pick up some parts to remedy that. So I'm gonna keep going on here. We're gonna get down underneath the truck and finish the downpipe, and then we'll come back up here and we'll keep tooling along. Just kind of want to keep you guys along. This is more of just, you know, watching the install. I'm not talking about it much, but just know that so far we are, as far as installing goes, This thing's going together awesome. I'm actually really pleased with this, and I've been eyeballing these kits for a long time, put on mine, but I want to go big, like a 468, maybe even a 472, because I want to do fuel at the same time. But anyway, this isn't about me, this is about getting this guy on here. So let's continue. So this kit has a 4-inch downpipe. This truck's got 5-inch exhaust. So we just got a 4 to 5-inch bell. I'm sure there's better ways to do this, but I'm not even worried about making it pretty. We have the 4-inch downpipe and the 5-inch downpipe, or fuck. We have the 4-inch downpipe and the 5-inch exhaust with this little bell thing. And we're not even gonna trim the 4-inch downpipe. It goes in about here. It's not pretty, but you can't see it. Who cares? We're gonna band clamp it together and call it good. So now that the downpipe's on, the oil feed and oil return line are on, obviously the manifold, exhaust housing, and the cartridge is there. The only thing we have left to do is finish up this intake side. Put this guy on, put our boost tube in, and then just keep moving forward with it. We are almost done, which is great because I'm really excited to hear this thing. Oh, there we go. There we go. What's hanging? Oh, this pipe's hanging me up. You want to try to get in there and pry on that pipe?
No, do that again, please. There we go.
Now is that thing gonna let your
shock tower was in my way?
Oh, sinful.
Good take? It broke. It was already broke. As soon as I put the thing under here and like twisted it, it just went.
Here, I'm sorry.
It's all good, dude. I kind of figured that was gonna happen anyway. There's a crack in here.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, I knew this was gonna. It's fine.
Well, they make moves.
How does that?
Now I'm just working this stupid thing.
I don't know which way to elbowy boy
So this
goes.
is gonna go this way, and it's gonna be
Careful, because that's got power to it, and you will arc. In case you're wondering, ask me how I know.
It's gonna end up with a straight shot to the intercooler. And I did take the nut off that thing. Yeah.
I'm really concerned that this AC hose is what's because it needs to be straight. It needs to be like right here.
That's way low.
Because if you go all the way up here,
What was that?
my Torx bit.
Yeah, if you go up there, it's not going to clear the... Oh. Well, after the fourth overheat with this camera, we do have this done. We ended up moving forward with it. We didn't want to stop working on it and wait for the camera to cool down. And I apologize for that. But this is all done. You guys saw a majority of it. I think when we left off, all I had to do was the intake, get the cold side or compressor housing on the turbo. All that stuff's good. It's all tight. It's all happy. And we just got back from driving it. And the truck runs great. I had to load some tunes in. Had to do a couple other things to it too. Put some new tunes in it. Had to change the monitor because the Edge with Attitude, you can't just run that as a monitor without the Attitude box. It's a whole thing that you just whatever. But I will say, if you're looking to second gen swap a truck, a 5.9 truck or whatever it may be, this is not a bad option. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. There's one thing that really fought us and that I wasn't too enthused about. If you can see in there, there's an Irate Diesel boot, which, you know, things didn't quite line up right. The boots that are supplied and the intercooler pipe that goes from the turbo to the intercooler was too long. And this is, I think this is just an honest mistake. I think the turbo style, okay, let me show you this. The turbo style, and they do make them in the 400s and 300s, whatever, with the cast in elbow. I think that inlet is farther back on the turbo than this style, which has the V-band elbow. Oh, see if you can see that right down in there. The elbow is V-banded in place, and I think that pushes that outlet farther forward. So the intercooler pipe down there wouldn't fit in there with the boots that were supplied with the kit. So we had to get a little creative, found another boot to make it all work. Other than that, went together great, it runs great, sounds great. You really can't beat the sound of these second gen swaps. You really can't. Another thing we had to do, we had some clearance issues with the grid heater. The grid heater usually lives right here, right? That's where the solenoid lives for the grid heater. Obviously that wouldn't fit. So what we did, since we don't live in a cold climate, we just eliminated that grid heater circuit. If he gets to the point where he wants a grid heater back, he starts to notice, you know, it gets really kind of cold, and for us really cold is in the teens, and it starts hard, then we'll figure out a way to get that grid heater back in. But for now we're okay with just taking it out and letting it go the way it is. Other than that, I want to thank you guys for watching. Follow along as much as you could I don't know what's going on with this thing lately. I think it's just we're not used to nice weather and the camera's just overheating. It's a normal thing. But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.